This edition, I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Stevie Nichols, Shaq Hairstop, and former England international Paul Mariner with us, who is very happy indeed because, of course, England, with their best result ever in the World Cup, beating Panama by 6 goals to 1. Maris, I feel that we should start with you.
Thank you.
This is where you say something?
I thought it was fantastic. Look, Panama were a very, very poor side, but it's the way that Gareth Southgate and his staff set this side up. The game was over in 20 minutes. That's what good sides do to poor sides. They put them to bed very, very quickly. I thought, you know, let's just go back to what he's set up. With the group that he's got, with the players that he's got, he's come up with this system. 3-1-4-2, and it's working absolutely perfectly. I think Lingard is an absolute revelation in the hole just behind. It goes without saying about Harry Kane leaving the line, the hold-up play, it's just sensational. And Henderson just protecting in front. Trippier's really surprised me. I thought his service from set pieces was excellent today. And as I said, they were fantastic in the first half. On the other side, I imagine you'll tell me how bad Panama were.
I will agree with you that Panama were poor. I mean, the antics when the penalties, the penalty they gave away with the wrestling in the box is embarrassing. But you know what? England, unlike some other big-name teams like Argentina, like Germany, who have struggled to put away teams that they should beat, well, England's done that. This is something England haven't done since this guy played. Usually by this stage, it's like, what's wrong and why is he not producing? England have been fantastic. They've got an attacking lineup. They have attacked. And in every single game, they've created plenty of chances. And today, they put a lot of them away. So if you're an England player or an England fan, you should be absolutely cock-a-hoop with what you're seeing.
Stephen referenced there Argentina, who struggled against Iceland, Germany, who lost, but they lost against Mexico. Panama on a lower level.
Yeah, much lower level, and that was quite evident today. Panama, in their first tournament, like an Iceland, I put this into just poor coaching from the World Cup debutants. Now, first time you're playing in the World Cup, you're going to come up against these giants, and you've got to be careful how you approach these games. Whereas I thought they approached the Belgium game in a good manner, went into the break 0-0, and it took Dries Mertens' wonder goal to break their resolve. In this one, against England, where I'm expecting you to, as a team, as a minnow coming in, to be a little bit more sensible defensively, you do anything but. You go a little bit gung-ho against England. Even if England get the opening goal, you don't just throw caution to the wind and clear out the window. And as a result, you come out the wrong side of an embarrassing result, which doesn't reflect well on them. Saying that, I don't think it matters one iota to their fans. It doesn't reflect well on CONCACAF. And it kind of, it makes a little bit of a mockery of the group and what's to play for.
Dan, we've all played in games where the manager says, look, you're better than this group, get out and bury the game after 20 minutes. He's played in teams I have, I'm sure you have, Shaq. And that's exactly what England did. It didn't matter to me how Panama set up today. If you're going to defend in a stupid manner, if you're not going to, if Maria loses his mark, John Stones, free header, 6 yards out, you're grabbing Harry Kane, you're grabbing people at set pieces. You're not going to win football matches. You've got VAR who is absolutely looking at every single thing. So I personally feel that the way that the lads came out today, I don't think a poor side could live with them because of the passing and because of the movement, whether it was a long ball coming from Maguire or Stones or Walker. But for me, Lingard, just in that little seam there, making those runs, threatening him behind, as he did with the ball over the top for the pen, I thought he was absolutely fantastic. He's been a revelation in this tournament.
Right, should we take a look at your ratings?
Yes, please.
Has Lingard got the most?
Who? No, Harold.
Harold has got a 10.
Well, he's got a hat-trick in the World Cup, for goodness sake. What do you want him to give him?
Well, no, okay, all right, calm down. But Lingard with a 9, you said was a revelation.
He was. Well, look, when you look at him playing for United, you look at him playing for England, he's sensational.
What happens when Dele Alli comes back?
That's a very good question for Southgate, because I can't see that Lingard will be dropped. It's probably going to be Loftus-Cheek. It's great experience for him, but maybe Loftus-Cheek drops out. But look, changing winning side, it's a big ask. They were fantastic today. Yes, the opposition was poor, but there's some very good performances.
What do you do if you're Gareth Southgate going into that final match now against Belgium? Both teams are through.
You win.
There's obviously different permutations as to whether or not it could be preferable to finish second.
I'm not,
what do you do with the team? How many changes do you make? How much do you think about the team?
Number one, if it's me, number one, you find out how fit the lads are. You have a word with the lads, you have a word with the medical team, how fit the lads, who's on the red zone. Nobody's on the red zone, Gaffer. Okay, let's go and win this game. Because it's all about momentum in the World Cup. We spoke for ad nauseum about the first game, how important in the first game is to get those 3 points. They got those 3 points. Then the confidence started to grow. Yes, they're playing Tunisia and Panama, but when they went into this game today, they destroyed this side. And I still think that you want to win the group. You win the group, you get the second place side. I don't think you want to overthink it, Danny. I don't think you want to get too excited to in front of yourself.
But why can't you think? Well, why can't you plot? Why can't you think, right, actually, I want to avoid Brazil?
This is a free game in some ways. You know, this Belgium,
it's a free game.
This Belgium game is perfect for Gareth Southgate because he will understand that the opposition hasn't been particularly brilliant. He will understand that they've been fantastic. Now, coming up against a proper team in Belgium, after this game, he'll find out exactly where they are, whether they're as good as they think they are, or whether he needs to tighten up. You know, we've said how great they've been going forward, but that's okay when you're playing against teams who don't have the ability really to hurt you when you lose the ball.
But what about looking at the bracket and thinking what is preferable for England? For example, if they finish second, it could work out for them a lot better. You look at it and it could be a nicer run to those semi-finals where in theory you'd meet Spain, as opposed to the opposite end where, you know, it could be Brazil and Germany.
If you're in a position where you know exactly where you stand, you know exactly what you have, you know how good you are, you know the best way to play regardless, then if you're in a position like that, then maybe you can turn around and say, okay, well, maybe if this happens, we'll do that. And if this happens. I don't think England's in that position yet. I think England has to go out with their best side available and try and beat Belgium.
I agree.
And if they beat Belgium, I don't care if I'm Gareth Southgate who we get in the next game.
Yep.
Because if I can take care of Belgium, I can take care of pretty much all the teams.
I think there are a couple of
competition.
things at play here. One is that all things being equal, you go out and you play and to win every single game. Maybe a more experienced team can take that step back, take your foot off the gas, and kind of try to read the bracket, as it were, and then pick the level back up as needed. This isn't a very experienced team. So you go out, you play to win every single time. The other danger with that is, as you start to look further down the bracket and try to pick and choose which side you're playing on, their last games are being played in the morning, and then the Group H games, which includes Colombia, Senegal, and Japan, are being played later that afternoon. So you're not quite sure who your opponent is yet. You might decide, well, this is the better route for us to go, and then all of a sudden you run up against a Colombia in the round of 16, which you do not want, especially when you have it could be Japan or Senegal at this point as the others to meet. So you try to read things a little bit too carefully like that, you could find yourselves in even more trouble.
Shaq, I don't think you want to get too clever.
That's what I'm saying. Play to win.
Look, if I'm Harry Kane, if I'm, as you said, Dele Alli coming back, I want to play Lingard. You want to play...
Martinez has come out and said he will make changes.
Well done to him. Big deal. I'm not interested in what he wants to do. If he wants to fiddle with his team, then let him knock himself out, because I think it's a mistake. Yeah. I really do, because Belgium, let's face facts, they haven't played anybody.
So you go full on?
Yeah.
I go full on.
You play the same team?
I absolutely do. And I go and make a statement, and I win the group, and whatever comes my way, that's what we play.
Shaka, just a word on CONCACAF. As a whole, it's interesting, this defeat seems to spark a debate into whether or not they have too many places. Obviously, in the future, we're going to have 48 teams.
Yeah.
Well, where do you stand on this? How defensive are you?
I think CONCACAF has the right number of places in 3.5. Now, Panama earned their right to be here by investing in their game over the last 2 decades, and their best team in history come up for what, in my opinion, is the worst CONCACAF cycle in history. Now, you look at it right now, you probably have one team, Mexico, and that's still in doubt, from CONCACAF who will go on to the next round. But 4 years ago, all 3 of the automatic qualifiers went through to the round of 16. Whereas you compare that to UEFA, let's say 4 years ago, 6 of the 13 qualifiers, automatic qualifiers, went through to the next round. So it levels itself out in the long run. I think CONCACAF at 3.5 is absolutely right, and any debate around that is otherwise just plain ridiculous.
If you're a US player, US fan, watching that at home, you're thinking this team finished 2 places above us in qualifying.
I think you go and stick your head in a bucket of water. I mean, it's embarrassing is what it is. But again, you know, the one thing with the US not qualifying, it has made them look at themselves.
Right.
And this will just make it, just enhance that and push them on to do better than they did in the last qualifying.
To Shaq's point about CONCACAF, is this all about the cycle? You look about, as Shaq was saying about some of the US teams that have qualified and gone on into the later stage of the tournament. Is this just this cycle that these players are just not good enough to get into the tournament? I think that's exactly what it is.
It's a conversation for another day, isn't it? Meanwhile, let's talk about the other games that took place. Japan taking on Senegal. This one finishing 2-2. A fun game, a great game, maybe a game that Japan should have won.
Yeah, personally, I think a draw was the right result. I wasn't overly impressed with either side. You know, Senegal in the first game against Poland did things that I just didn't think they could. You know, they were disciplined and they had good team shape, and then they took their chances. And this game against Japan, for me, they sort of just didn't concentrate the way they did in that Poland game. And I think that's the real Senegal. Japan, for me, listen, you can't fault their effort and their work rate, but they're just not a particularly good team. And at the end of the day, I've got to say, I don't think Senegal's a particularly good team either.
This was a team that you thought would go far and shock some people, Shaq. Are you still sticking by that?
No, not right now. I think as this group is poised, I think Colombia and Japan go through. Senegal, for me, would have had to win this game, given that they have Colombia last game to go through. Saying that, as good as they were against Poland, and Steve is right, I thought they were poor against Japan. Got a gift in the opening goal, and then just did not show the kind of resolve that you saw against Poland.
Take a look. This is how the group stands. Japan, big favourites. They'll be taking on Poland. Meanwhile, Colombia, obviously, it makes a massive difference. You don't get someone sent off after 3 minutes. Looked a proper team, didn't they? Really good against Poland, who looked, well, must have made you feel young, Paul.
Well, from the first whistle, you could see that James, Falcao, they were at it, and they just wanted to get this game. They wanted to take the game by the scruff of the neck, and they did so. They moved the ball quickly. They were adventurous. Cuadrado was causing problems all day long down that right-hand side. He was taking people on. They were opening this defence up quite easily. And let's face facts. You know, people are moaning about Lewandowski's not turned up in this tournament, but the supporting cast around him is absolutely dreadful. But they were opening this Poland side up. You know, Falcao gets right into the middle. And you can't do that at this level. You just cannot leave yourself wide open. But the way that Colombia really moved the ball around, they got it east to west, north, south, you name it, they were doing it. I thought they were terrific today.
Colombia were fun, weren't they?
You know, if I'm Colombian, there's only one worry I have. Is James Rodriguez going to last the pace?
Of course, didn't start the first game.
Didn't start the first game because he wasn't fully fit. And by, I don't know, 10 minutes to go in this game, he was down on holding his knees, blown.
Yeah.
You know, so my only worry for Colombia, because I think, as I said before, they can beat anybody on the day, but they need James Rodriguez.
Stephen,
if they want to go far, they need James. And I just hope he can last.
The two central defenders today, I thought, were fantastic. They gave nothing away. Yerry Mina scores that goal. Nobody's around him. You know, how could you not mark that guy? He was a fantastic header. But Barrios in the holding role in the middle of the park, tireless working, absolutely phenomenal in front of the back goal.
For me, and it has to be said, Ospina for Colombia is a whole lot better than the Ospina we see for Arsenal. You mentioned the back four. I think 90 minutes, a run-on for James Rodriguez does the world of good. I think Falcao gets better as the game goes on. You know exactly how good he can be. And when you see somebody leading by example, like Juan Cuadrado down the right-hand side, with the running that he puts in, I think that this sparks this Colombia team. Right now, they as good as they have been through qualifying, they are even better on the big stage. You avoid them at all costs.
Who have we got going through? Japan, you would suggest,
Yes.
obviously, are going to beat Poland.
Yes.
Then Colombia against Senegal, and kind of winner takes all.
Yep, Japan and Colombia, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see any other outcome.
How far could Colombia go, Steve? They look good, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. If they lose players through either injury or suspension, that's going to hurt them when it comes to the big games. But if they can keep everybody on the field, you know, from back, middle to front, they can play against anybody.
Well, tomorrow sees the start of the final round of group matches. We'll be looking back at them. Of course, it includes Russia against Uruguay, plus Portugal and Spain. And if you want to see more of us, and let's face it, who wouldn't? Go over to the website and check out Extra Time. We do it every day. We answer your tweets. Sometimes things get a bit off track. We laugh at Robbo a lot for using his hands. That's pretty much standard. Meanwhile, Group B will end tomorrow. Let's just remind you how things stand. It is Spain against Morocco. Morocco are done and dusted. They are out. And it's Portugal against Iran. A win for Iran would see them advance ahead of Portugal. For Spain, they're, of course, big favourites to advance at 66-1 on. Portugal as well, 10-1 on. Iran coming in at 5-1. Any chance for Iran, Shank?
No, this is Portugal's to all they need is a draw. I don't see them blowing this. Given the leadership that they've gotten on the park from Cristiano Ronaldo, they don't let this slip. No, they just don't.
No, I just cannot see it. It's impossible.
No?
No, not at all. It's the way Ronaldo is leading this side, you know, with his, not so much with just his goals, but just his demeanour and his manner on the field. I just can't see it, Danny.
Are we not dismissing Iran too quickly?
Yes,
here?
we are.
Well, there's a reason why we're dismissing them, because they haven't a shot on goal in 2 games. That's why we're dismissing
them. They beat Morocco.
Well,
Spain didn't exactly steamroll them, did they?
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't see any way possible how Portugal don't score.
Right.
It's probably going to be Ronaldo. That means that, you know, for Iran to win this game, they have to score 2 goals. And for a team that haven't got a shot on goal 2 games,
Portugal
how are they going to score 2 goals?
Portugal have to score 2 own goals.
So, and unless you've got a crystal ball, nobody is going to pick Iran to beat Portugal.
Right. Meanwhile, what have you made of Spain so far, Paul?
It's obviously surprising the first game. I thought that was an absolute classic. You just could not take your eyes off it.
Yeah.
The way that Ronaldo rose to the occasion. Look, when you've got Douglas Costa in the form that he's in at the moment, the way that he bullies central defenders, he's not bothered who it is, the service that comes in from the box, the set pieces, David Silva just underneath. They've got way too much. I just think that was a little blip in the first game against Portugal. I think they get stronger and stronger. I think it was a good wake-up call for Spain.
Well, they didn't get that stronger against Iran, did they?
They did what they had to do, Dan. They really did. I mean, look.
There's never any doubt. From when Costa scores, Diego Costa scores, the game is never in any doubt. There's not 1 second where you thought in another than, well, how many is it going to be?
Right.
Spain, I thought, were exactly what it says on the tin. They completely and utterly pass you to death.
Yep.
And then it's a question of one of them taking advantage of that little half a yard in and around the penalty box, and the game's done.
And I think that's the beauty of this Spanish team. All right, in the opening game, you come up against Cristiano Ronaldo doing Ronnie things. But then I think the beauty of this Spanish team is, regardless of the opposition and their tactics, and whether you park the bus and how deep you park that bus, they are comfortable in possession and will pass you to death and will continue to dictate games and won't panic. So even if that's your approach with them, eventually they will get the better of you.
Can Spain win it?
I think they can, especially when you consider some of the stumbles you've seen from some of the usual suspects so far this tournament. Again, for me, that opening game was Ronaldo doing Ronnie things. Spain, without question, have the talent, have the personalities, have the patience to go on and beat anybody in this tournament on their day.
I've been impressed with Croatia, I must admit.
Oh.
I really have. Hey, no, he's talking about winning. You're talking about winning it, right?
Part of Spain's Croatia.
Look. There's no doubt Portugal and Spain are going through. I thought you asked him the question: Can Spain win it?
Yes,
that's right.
Well, Of course I can, but I'm just saying, as a sidebar, I've been impressed with Croatia. That's all I'm saying.
No, I like it. No, I like that.
It's
No,
just
that's
a
all right.
free-
Well, no, we haven't
it's just
seen
a sidebar.
No, to be fair, who else is in your sidebar? Who else have you been impressed with?
Who do you think?
I don't know what I'm asking.
England!
England. We're talking, they're not going to...
You can only beat who's in front of you. The old adage, Stevie. Come on, Daddy.
You're not talking about England
upset now.
as a chance to win this thing, are you? Seriously?
He asked me who I've been impressed with. Were you not impressed with England today? I know you're Scottish. It's going to kill you to say it, but yes, you were, because I sat alongside you watching the game.
I was impressed with the individual performances
Oh,
of
here
some
we
of the
go.
English
Okay,
players.
all right, fair enough.
Steve, how
There's a
far
shot.
can Spain go?
I just don't think anybody other than Brazil wins it. So they
Wow.
can get themselves into semis, finals, whatever. But I don't see them beating Brazil. And I think we can put the Portugal result down to Ronaldo. But at the same time, they just showed little. Well, they showed where the problem is for Spain. It's not keeping the ball, and it's not going forward. It's definitely in and around their own defensive area where, well, they made mistakes against Portugal, and I don't see how, against all the other good teams, particularly Brazil, those mistakes won't continue.
Meanwhile, Group A, of course, is done and dusted. Well, when it comes to who's going through. The order, though, will be established tomorrow as it's Russia against Uruguay. Remember, a win for Russia will see them go through at top. Anything else, a draw or win for Russia, will see the host go through top of Group A. The bookies have got Uruguay just favourites. Russia have certainly been excellent so far. I think they've exceeded most people's expectations. Let's see what the psychic tiger has had to make of it all. This is in a zoo in Russia.
Let's have a guess.
There's some meat in both of this, apparently.
Yeah.
Here we go. What's the
Yeah, of course there is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go on, mate.
Should have put meat in that one and nothing in the other one.
Don't be so cynic. There it is.
That's what happened.
He's gone for the old home cooking. That's all it is.
Exactly.
Psychic Tiger thinks that Russia will win tomorrow and go top. We've got a similar experiment with Stevie.
I'll just eat both of them.
What do you think?
Oh, Uruguay. I don't see how you... Listen, as good as Russia have started, my problem with Russia is that they're relying on a giant up front in Zuba, who has just bullied everybody that he's come up against. You're talking about Uruguay, who have got seasoned campaigners, the likes of Godin and Jimenez at the back, who will not fight this guy because they know they won't win. They'll outthink him and out-football him. Plus the fact, Uruguay up front, Cavani and Suarez. So it's Uruguay for me.
You as confident?
I actually am, yeah. I just think that the collective mental spirit of Uruguay, they'd never concede goals. They always take the game to the opposition. And as Stevie says, with Cavani and Suarez up front, they're going to have enough. I've got no doubt that Uruguay will beat them.
Wow.
Talent-wise, this is all about Uruguay and Uruguay's to lose. But Russia have been a breath of fresh air. And I've not had a whole lot good to say about Russia, but I've been really excited by what they've had to offer. Head says Uruguay, heart says...
Ooh,
Thank you very much, guys.